Hey y'all, I'm Courtney.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is Vada Stipplers,
the podcast where we read all the books we used to steal off our grandmother's nightstands.
And then we drink about it.
On this episode, we read Sidney Sheldon's Bloodline. Do not read this book if you are triggered by, get ready, buckle up bitches, schoolgirl lesbianism written by a dirty old man, infant loss, dodgy depictions of mental illness, snuff films conveniently made by serial killers, spousal abuse of a man, statutory rape, weird ideas about how kink works, gaslighting, failure to understand anything at all about business, medicine, or elevators, the idle rich, animal experimentation, using Jewish tragedy to spice up your book. Is that everything?
I don't know, I dozed off.
Just be aware that I might have forgot stuff, because this is that kind of book. And so if there is anything that is going to bother you to read about it, just don't read it, okay? Just don't. Just leave it alone.
This is a bananas book, y'all.
Yes.
Lord, Sarah. This is Sarah's third 4 for 40 entry.
I was going to tell you don't say a number, because that way we can release it whenever it escapes.
This is like... Yeah, Sarah's a freak, y'all.
Okay, so this is not a romance, as I hope you figured out by the trigger warnings. This is, I couldn't figure out what it was for the longest time. I was like, well, it's a thriller with romantic element. Oh shit, it's an airport book.
It is an airport book.
And they don't make airport books like this anymore. They only make like Jack Reacher and like Adirondack chair books.
Oh my god.
But they used to make these trashy books about really rich people who went
like
skiing and murdered each other.
Yes, is what it is. It's bro escapism.
Yes, and it's got, like, oh man, y'all, it is trash. It is tawdry.
This book is wild. Wild.
Well, and the reason I wanted to read it again is I have not read it since I was very young, and I remember stealing it from my mother's bookshelf, and I dog-eared all kind of pages, and now I realize this because there's all this, like, complete misunderstanding of kink in it.
This is the most comedically horny book.
Like, I bet you any money I had to look up, like, where it's, like,
this was like an 80s titty comedy. On steroids.
Yeah, with murder. Like, more, like, not funny murder.
Oh, my God. It was wild.
Oh, my God. Yeah, so, but, yeah, I mean, I tell you what, it was a fucking page-turner.
It was a page-turner. I read the shit out of this.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so what are we drinking?
Well, I thought this was good for this book, because I bought a wine at Costco, and it acts all fancy. It's like Gigonde des Appellations.
Very nice.
Contrôlé, Produit de France. But then it's got that big old Kirkland signature up at the top.
I love that.
And that's what this book is. It thinks that it's fancy, but it doesn't actually know anything about how to be fancy, because it would just stamp Kirkland signature on that motherfucker.
I got the candidate because I feel like that kind of fit with this
She's
book.
A candidate. She's the only candidate for chairman of the board.
Yes.
But
so before we move on, Patreon shout outs. You guys are like gangbusters on Patreon. We have met our, I think, like third funding goal, which was the Sweet Valley High. Mm-hmm. So next week we'll be putting up a poll for our Patreon subscribers to let us know which Sweet Valley High you think we should read. Should we do the murder one? Should we do the first one? We'll give you guys a couple options and have the option to write in. Our Patreon shout out this episode is from new member Truth Stevenson. Truth just wants us to know that she is biding her time until she can take over the podcast. And Truth would be really good in a Sidney Sheldon book because she is crafty. And I could fully see her, like, offing one or both of us to be in charge of this now.
I have a funny story about Sidney Sheldon. That my parents used to spend a lot of time in the car avoiding South Carolina personal income tax. So they would get audiobooks for Cracker Barrel, because you can return and get them from any Cracker Barrel. I'm like, y'all, I'm actually a librarian, but anyway.
Yeah.
And so, but they would get just like, whatever was there. So you end up getting maybe not your favorite books. And eventually my dad was like, honey, you need to quit getting these lady authors, these women authors. They always put way too much description in. I just don't like these women authors. You need to quit getting that Sidney Sheldon.
Well, what's wild is like, so about Sidney Sheldon. Sidney Sheldon died in 2007 at 89. He started off as a writer for Broadway plays and then motion pictures. So he wrote the comedy The Bachelor and the Bobby Soxer in 1947. Got him an Oscar. He also created The Patty Duke Show, I Dream of Jeannie, Heart to Heart. And then after 50, he started writing best-selling romantic suspense novels. So there's this one that we read, Master of the Game, The Other Side of Midnight, and Rage of Angels.
I remember the Other Side of Midnight being a really big book, too.
And so he had 18 novels, and they sold over 300 million copies in 51 languages. So he is a wild-ass person.
He's one of those authors that you used to not be able to avoid. Like, he was just everywhere, and now nobody reads him anymore. I'm actually very glad. I had conflated this in my mind with another one that I had also read and dog-eared many, many pages of, and I'm very glad that that was not the case, because that one had some nuns getting raped, like gang raped to death by soldiers in it.
You read like a 45-year-old man,
well,
apparently.
Evidently that's the Sands of Time, so I don't know if I should go back and reread that one.
I don't know. Let's just
That's
that
like
one alone.
Basque separatist in like Franco's Spain, I think. No. Yeah, I don't know, dude. But hey, look, I read whatever I could find. Okay,
apparently.
I got my sexual education where it was laying around on the ground.
So the cover that we have is not the original cover. Do you want to talk about the original cover?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's the original cover, but the cover, and we'll put it on our on the show notes at bodystipplers.com. But it's like, it's this like very 70s painted cover of like a hot dude holding a lady with a lot of hair and her head's back, and the title Bloodline has a little streamer coming out of it that goes around her neck like a red ribbon, which, hey, is actually from the book.
It is the book. It is in the book.
Yeah, so we have a really, it's like this poorly photoshopped. Yeah, I don't know.
Some lips and then a hibiscus
flower. It's not. Yeah. So this came out in 1977, and it looks like this printing. Oh, re-released 2005.
It's wild.
Yeah, somebody just like did not put the effort in on that bad boy at all.
Did we read the back cover on this?
Not yet.
Go for it.
All right. Roth and Sons. Did we decide how we're saying it?
Let's just do Roth.
Okay. Roth and Sons is a family firm, an international empire filled with desperate, cash-hungry family members. Well, that's true. At its head was one of the wealthiest men in the world, a man who has just died in a mysterious accident and left his daughter Elizabeth in control of the company. Now as this intelligent, tough, and beautiful young woman dares to save, not sell, Roth and Sons, she will have to outwit those who secretly want her power, and the unknown assassin who wants her life.
Bum, bum, bum.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, let's get started on this crazy-ass fucking plot.
Oh my god, and we're not kidding about any of those trigger warnings, y'all. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna explain what happens in this book in chronological order, which is like not exactly as it is in the book.
Yeah, it's not book order.
Just so that like you'll understand the people we're talking about. So we find out like halfway through this book that back in the mid 19th century, in
1853,
in the Krakow ghetto, this dude Sam Roth. Long story short, there's not a lot of course, like you're not allowed to be more than 3 doctors in the Jewish ghetto, and there's not a lot of like upward mobility for him. So he's clever and he works something out with a doctor, and there's all this business. But he murders somebody.
It's not really murder. It's self-defense, man.
Yeah, I mean...
So, okay, Sam Roth is the son of a peddler, but he wants more. He walks by, he's fascinated with medicine, and he keeps walking by this doctor's office.
He's also fascinated by the doctor's daughter.
Wants that life. He is all about that life. The doctor catches him, like, coming in, like, staring, and he's like...
He's actually, like, hanging off the second floor window sill.
And the doctor kind of takes him under his wing. It's very realistic, like, you're not marrying my daughter, but, I'll help you out with some stuff. So, Sam becomes obsessed with, inoculation. But this book pretends that there was no inoculation prior to 1850.
Yeah, there's no Edward Jenner, there's no Cotton Mather.
Yeah.
John Adams certainly didn't get a smallpox inoculation. No. Yeah, it's weird, y'all.
And then I don't think he really understands how inoculations work. So, Sam, there's a sickness going on in the ghetto, and he takes the blood from one of these, people who are ill, and keeps messing around with it. This is the thing.
He just injects it into horses and sees what happens.
Well, it's like at first he's like doing it in cats and rabbits, and he's like, "These are too small. This isn't working." And I was like, "I don't know how science works for you, buddy." But so he like buys an old horse, kills that horse. So he's a horse murderer.
Oh yeah, and he murders many horses.
I'll give him that. Like he is a murderer of horses and cats and rabbits. But he finally Eureka hits it. And so he starts inoculating people. He's starting to like build a little bit of like an income, and he's ready to marry this doctor's daughter, and he's ready to get out. But like right as he's like going to move, he gets caught being out late by, like, one of the guards.
Yeah, and he loses a cartwheel and it makes him late. And it's the kind of situation in Krakow where the gates are closed at sundown, and if you're Jewish and you're caught outside the gates, then you go to the death sentence labor camp.
Yeah. And so, like, rather than go to the death sentence labor camp, he, like, beans the guard with the rock. So I'm not calling it murder.
No. I mean, like, I'm just saying that he killed somebody.
Yeah, like, that's good. That's good killing.
No, I mean, like,
that's Courtney approved.
It's
killing.
a righteous shoot. I'm just, I'm saying that, and for also,
but it was the same day that he also, like, saved a guy. That was the whole thing. He had saved someone that day with his inoculation, and then murdered somebody with a rock.
But he was very clever about how he did it, because they were all like, dude, don't you come back in here? Yeah. Because he stole the key to the gate, and they went, no, we are all gonna die if you get your dumb ass back in here. So what he does is he goes out to back to the the other side of the gate, and he, like, rigs kind of a rope thing, so he climbs up over the wall, pulls the rope, and so, in other words, they've been locked in all night, and when they go to investigate, they're all like, we've been here all night, and we couldn't have gone
what's
now.
Going on?
So he's smart, and he's plucky, and all that, but partly, like, the murder thing it means that it's definitely not written, this book that's found about, which is how you know all this stuff. It's definitely not written then.
Yeah, we found all this out because there's a journal. All right, so Sam and his family and the girl that he's going to marry, his family, they get out. And they start an apothecary, which, eventually becomes more apothecaries and more apothecaries and more apothecaries. And while this is happening, he has 5 children. 5 sons. So, he sends his 5 sons to various points in the world. To the United States, to England, to Germany, to Italy. I think that's our...
There's another... It must be Switzerland.
Yeah, and Switzerland.
Yeah.
So, that is the backstory about the people who are contemporary in the book. So, the next group of people that we're going to talk about are the descendants of these 5 sons.
So, they all had, like, it worked out, it doesn't matter. The point is that they all have exactly one heir.
Yes.
They're, mostly boys, except for one woman, Helene. So, we'll go through this cast of characters, because this matters.
This is a lot of people.
Yes. So, there's Sam, who's the patriarch of the family, and here's the CEO. And what you need to know about this company is that since Sam the Elder's day, this has been a closely held corporation.
Yeah.
Which, thanks to Neil Gorsuch, means that you can deny birth control in the U.S. to all your employees, because you can say you have a real religious belief. But it also means that they are not selling, they're not going public.
In 1973, what it means is that, they're not selling, they're not going public. It has to be a unanimous vote if they ever want to sell.
Yes, and that's it's in the company charter and all that stuff. Because Sam, he's no fool, and he's got this thing that if you let the fox in because he's nice today, you don't expect him to never eat your hens, which reasonable, okay. But so Sam is new Sam the third, I guess, is the leader. He's the chairman of the board, and he has one daughter, Elizabeth. And keep in mind that this is 1977, so it's kind of still a patriarchy. Yeah. And all the people who actually sit on the board are the men. Right. So there's Sam. There's Walter and Anna. Anna is the actual Roth. Right. When we meet her, she's convinced that Walter's trying to kill her. He was a ski instructor that she met and married, and so everybody thinks that he's only there for her money. Right. And she's very wrapped up in. Should we ruin the surprise there, or? It's obvious if you're grown. Yeah. I was surprised by it as a kid. She's all like, "I love the babies, babies," and it's really obvious.
Anna got pregnant, and she lost, she was giving birth, and then it was one of these things where
she fell down the stairs, I think.
She wakes up 3 days later and is like, "Where are my babies?" And then there are babies, but obviously
there are babies.
There are no babies. So she's batshit crazy, and Walter really loves her, but does not have the best healthcare plan in place for her.
So, when we say she's batshit crazy, it's not to be insensitive to people with actual mental illnesses, because this is not a real mental illness.
Well,
this is a book mental illness.
This is a batshit crazy book, so I am going to employ the batshit crazy.
This is a soap opera mental illness. Yeah. So it's not in any way like a genuine mental illness.
No. She has some weird, it's not even, it's
I guess it's supposed to be paranoid schizophrenia or dissociative.
It's just baby ghost syndrome.
Yeah, she's got baby ghost syndrome.
Yeah. And again, I feel like this is one of the things.
Can say that, yes.
I can say batshit crazy and baby ghost syndrome, where other people maybe cannot. But
So Walter sits on the board.
Yeah.
But Anna is, like, essentially they're locked up in the house. And he's got her, like, locked away, and she keeps trying to call the cops on him.
She is, like, yellow wallpaper. Like,
yes. Yeah, like, she's like, yes. But then, like, you as an adult reading this are like, oh, dude, she needs a lot more help than everybody. So that's them. They're the German.
They're the German contingency.
Ivo and Simonetta in Italy. Simonetta is the Roth.
Yes.
And Donatella is his mistress, and he's got two families. And Donatella is like, you bitch, I want $1 million.
Yeah, so, well, what happened is that, so, Ivo is like this, like, happy-go-lucky guy.
He's extremely stereotypically Italian.
Yeah, so he's got Simonetta, he's very happy with her, he loves her. And then he meets Donatella, he's very happy with her, he loves her. And he, like, has parallel lives. So Simonetta gives birth to 3 children. Donatella gives birth to 3 children. Simonetta's are girls. Donatella's are boys. Everything's trucking along until I think Donatella always knew that he was married, but didn't know that he had children, which, okay, girl. And then, you know,
that's the thing that bothers you.
I think the school, like, they go to school together?
No, they don't. They go to schools as far away as possible and still be in Rome.
Somehow, like, they find out, and she's like...
He's on the magazine, like Rome Business Monthly.
And she's like, fuck you, give me some money.
Well, the kids saw it.
Yeah. So, he needs money. All right, so we've got Ivo in Italy who needs money. You've got Walter who's got a crazy wife, baby crazy wife.
And remember,
Ghost baby crazy wife in Germany.
And that Simonetta is the Roth, and so if she left Ivo's ass, he would have nothing. Okay. So there's Alec and Vivian in the UK, and Alec is the Roth in that situation, and he's an MP, but she is like street trash. She's like
she was like a B movie star that he just like fell in love with,
and she's just like a bitch.
She has gambling debts.
Yes, and she fucks around too, and she gave him like syphilis. I mean,
she's like terrible.
Yeah, but she has terrible gambling debts, and so like that enough that the gambling debt people are like showing up at his club,
threatening to spike his kneecaps.
Yes. Or to nail his kneecaps to the floor.
We'll get into this later. That's Alec. Alec and Vivian. They are the English contingent.
And they have money problems.
Yes.
And then there's, oh my god, here, buckle up, bitches, because now we got Helene and Charles in France.
Yes.
And Helene, we are introduced to her. There is what do you call those cars?
Like a Formula One race.
Formula One cars. Yeah. And there's like the Ferrari driver is just like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And she spins into the winner's circle, she takes off her helmet, and it's a woman, and that's Helene.
It's the reveal that it's a lady.
It's like that.
And then she's married to little, like, sad Napoleon Dynamite type Charles.
And he's the one who sits on the board. But, like, he's terrified of her.
Because she's mean as hell. Like,
she's abusive in every possible... And as in, like, she rapes him. And then, like, as the surprise, when she's done, she'll, like, put a cattle prod up his ass.
Like, I mean, it's... That relationship's the most upsetting.
Yeah, and it's like, the thing is, it's played for kind of, like, for laughs and
I know,
for
but,
plot,
like, it's really awful.
Which is the problem,
like, he, like, urinates himself because he's so scared of her at one point.
It's, terrible. And so what he's decided to do is, he knows that she would stop him from getting out. Like, if he made any move, then she would get him, and he can't even imagine what she would do. It would be terrible. So he's going in with a friend of his under an assumed name, and they're going to buy a vineyard. So...
And then it rains a lot in the vineyard.
But he got the money for the vineyard, and I don't know, that's a pretty good plan. Stealing her jewelry piece by piece and having it replaced by a jeweler with fake, like, replacements, and then pawning the jewelry.
Good plan.
Good plan, right? But then,
you can't help the rains. You can't help the rains.
Yeah, he thinks he can get everything back. But yeah, the vineyard like goes under, and now it needs like a lot more money, and he's fucked. So he needs money too.
Yeah. So.
Then there is Reese is like the I don't know if his title is vice president, but he's Sam's right hand man. He's the competent.
He is like this. He grew up like he started off in like the coal mines of Wales, and like decided fuck that, I'm not gonna die in the coal mine, and like goes to London and like makes himself over. And he is the most ambitious, most competent one, but he's like Tom Hagen in The Godfather in that he can never be part of it, really, because he's not a Roth.
Yeah, you would have to marry in.
Yes.
Or all these people would have to agree to sell. And everybody wants to sell, although nobody will admit they have money problems, except like Sam will not sell.
Right. This is Sam's business, like, and the description of this business is basically like, it's like a DuPont, like global fucking just
Yes. It's
corporation.
enormous.
Yeah, like it is. This book is wild. Yeah, like this book has like this company has like the amount of money that like the GDP of like
many countries.
Yeah, not even small countries, but like, you know,
DuPont is actually probably the best.
Yeah, like it's like a DuPont company. So the book opens with Reese in Turkey. And there's like this...
It's exotic.
There's an exotic lady. So we get a little bit of this. We get this woman who is Turkish coming on
James
to
Bond,
yeah.
you know.
You know, she's got a musky, exotic native scent.
She's like leaving a snail trail.
Yeah, and he's like, no thanks. Well, we find out that Sam Roth, again, the American one, the one that is the patriarch, has died. He has died in a mountaineering glacier accident.
Yeah, it was a bottomless crevasse.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought that he might not be dead.
That's what I thought too, because they kept saying bottomless crevasse.
Okay, so I understand, like, there's crevasses that are definitely too deep to go get a body out of, but there's no such thing as a fucking bottomless crevasse.
Bottomless anymore. So Reese is having to get all of these
Princess Pants are bottomless.
He has to get all of these, like, factions together, and they're going to meet in Zurich.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's their company headquarters is in Zurich, and so he has to do it like by delivered note because he doesn't want to hit the news media. Fair. But so like the note delivery is like the character moments for all these people.
Right. So,
and Elizabeth, remember, is Sam's.
She's
daughter.
the youngest, and
she's just like 21.
Yeah, she is super young.
All of her cousins, well, I mean, she's the next generation, so all of her cousins are much older than she is. And she has spent her life in, like, Swiss finishing schools.
And all she has ever wanted is, like, her father's approval, affection. So we get a lot of, like, that backstory of, like, how she's very shy and just awkward, and her father, you know, like, after... When she's born, her mother dies, and her father's just like, hey, here's some nannies.
But it's not because he loved her mother so much, because he doesn't seem like that nice guy.
He's just a dick. He just doesn't, you know. So they have, like, houses in New York and Sardinia and all over the place. And, like, she goes to these amazing places, but, like, her dad's never there.
Yeah.
So, like...
She just rattles around
She just wants, like, she yearns for human affection.
So for a while there, she just ate a lot.
Yeah.
In her desire for...
So we got, like, the
comfort.
70s, like, sad fat girl eating.
But don't worry, it gets fixed. On her, 16th birthday?
So she goes... She had been put in, like, ballet, which she hated, and her dad said that he was going to come to her recital. So she goes out there and does stuff, and, like, she's terrible, but her dad's applauding, and then she basically pulls, like, a baller move where she won't get off the stage. Yes. And, you know, her dad's like, why did you do it? And she's like, because I liked, you know, being out there. And so the next day is when he sends her to Swiss boarding school.
Like, she thinks that, like, oh, he approved of me. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if he did or not, because all he did is just put her on a plane to Switzerland.
Oh, my God, yeah. So she's in Switzerland, and then you can tell the...
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, now, I did, as you know, I went to a women's college, not a women's high school, but a women's college. So, yes, there is absolutely a thrumming undercurrent of lesbian in such places. But, yeah, like, so the way that Sidney Sheldon writes about these schoolgirl lesbians is...
Oh my God.
If I say dripping, that's not a good word, but, like, it is so old man horny.
Yes.
Like, it is, the details, I mean, I know I must have dog-eared all these pages, because this is probably the first time I really encountered lesbianism explicitly
He talks about, like, there's schoolgirl games where they touched each other, and then, like, talks about, like, utilizing shower heads.
Yeah, which, I mean, is legit, alright, y'all?
Yeah, but then it gets gross.
Yeah, okay, see, all of that is actually kind of sweet, and then probably, like, you know, I bet it was a story that somebody told him, because the schoolgirl game actually seemed like the kind of thing that girls would do.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of like a dare, and you had to orgasm before a certain amount of time, or you were, I forget.
Yeah. Or you had to give somebody an orgasm.
Yeah. It was like that, and you know, of course, like, I don't know if I would or would not install, detachable shower heads in a girls' school. I don't know if it would be worth the wear and tear on the equipment. But, okay, so, and she did not participate in any of this stuff. She just found both of these kind of, like, behaviors really gross. Until, like, there's a teacher who actually cared about her and, like, listened to her.
A lady teacher, a lady French teacher. The French teacher. That's the French teacher.
Of course, the French teacher. And like she had not done that well in school because she was so shy.
Yeah.
But and teachers didn't understand that. They thought she was stuck up. I mean, if you come in and you're DuPont, then maybe.
Yeah.
But and she's like, maybe I'm a lesbian.
Yeah.
Huh. Because, like, and I thought she was misinterpreting that this teacher's, like, kindness and good teaching as, like, maybe she's into me. Like, maybe, like, you know, that, like her hand on her arm or whatever, like, is a little too long. No. There's a night where she's, like, anticipating it, and this teacher comes and creeps into her bedroom.
The teacher creeps into her room and, like, kisses her and then goes down on her. And it's really upsetting.
And then it's supposed to be funny because she's like, guess I'm not lesbian.
Not a lesbian. I'm like, well, no, you just been sexually assaulted. Yeah. Like, hey, girl.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so.
And then it's, like, this very homophobic, like, and it turned out she was just a normal girl. You know, it's like, it uses the word normal.
So.
And then she's like, and then she starts using the shower head.
So, and we can't, I know we're talking really fast with this one, but this is such a book with, like, a lot of plot.
There's a lot that happens in here.
Okay, so on her 16th birthday, she's waiting for her dad. He does not show up, but Reese shows up. And I guess Reese is about 10 years older.
Yeah, so it's not gross. I mean, and he's very proper with her until,
he takes her, he's like, it's not every day that a girl gets to celebrate her 16th birthday. So he flies her to Paris, and they have dinner, and, like, it was such a fucking great date, pity date, that she comes back and, like, she starts talking to people and gets skinny. So
I wish to God somebody would take me to Paris and it would fix all my problems.
Oh my God, if I could go to Paris and, like, then hit, like, my goal weight.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Usually it's the other way around. You go to Paris, you crepe your way through the place.
Exactly. So she, like, then becomes more assertive when she, like, graduates. Again, for her 21st birthday, it's Reese taking her somewhere. But she kind of becomes her father's, like, hostess. Yeah. You know,
and she screws it up a couple times.
But then, like, she gets really good. So,
I mean, why don't you send your kid to a finishing school if not to, like, throw parties?
So they all head to Zurich. The whole family's there for this big board meeting. And everybody is pushing Elizabeth because it's ultimately Elizabeth's been left with the majority of the shares. So she is in control. And like we said earlier, it has to be a unanimous vote to sell the stock. So they all
assume that this is just, like, they already had the papers drawn.
Yeah, they're like,
they thought, well, this is just pro forma.
Like, oh, you're just like a stupid little girl, like, you know.
And she's like, I need to think about this.
Yeah. So she's
like, there's a reason my dad didn't do this. So I got to find out what it is.
She's like, I need to think about this. Like, give me a couple days. And then she flies to her favorite house, which is the one in Sardinia. And that's where she found that journal that talked about Sam Rolfe the First. Yeah. When she gets there, she finds a briefcase.
Well, it's delivered to her. She brings it with her. It, like her father's personal effects that he had with her, like in, wasn't Interlaken, Chamonix. It was like, you know, they're always dropping these places full of rich people.
The fanciest places.
Yes. And like,
and restaurants. There's always like restaurants names like, you know, on her 21st birthday, Reese took her to, like, a burger joint, and they had, like, chili dogs and fries, and it was and Cokes, and I was like, bitch. Yeah. It was very exotic. And I was like, well, I don't know. Okay, in 1977, it still would have been 18 a drink, right?
In the U.S.?
Yeah, I think
it depends on the state.
Yeah. But, like, you know, I was like, they're making a big deal about the 21st birthday, and I was like, I don't know if it'd be a big deal.
It might have been New York State.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was absolutely, it was statewide, and so in the 80s, it was MAD who pushed the national drinking age, and then they withheld, like, the highway funds, I think.
Yeah, some bullshit.
So, anyway, this is actually before we were born. We're not that old.
Yeah.
We're old, but we're not that old.
Yeah. So, anyway, I'm sorry I digressed with that.
So she goes get some breath.
She goes to Sardinia. She's got this briefcase with his personal effects, and she finds a folder marked,
do not copy.
Confidential. So
it's like the key to your dorm.
Yeah, she goes and she opens this file, and it's all about basically, like, there's corporate sabotage happening.
And, okay, so the thing is, Sidney Sheldon seems like a man of the world, but doesn't seem to know very much about these Remember, this is like DuPont. So one of the things that has happened, and I mean, this is not cool to use this as a plot device. Yeah. Essentially, not in India, but somewhere in South America, they had like a Bhopal incident where like there was a chemical release and a bunch of people died and were, you know, hideously disfigured and will require medical care for the rest of their lives. And like, so there's fallout from that.
Crops, like, there's, like, you know, entire, like, ecosystems that have been destroyed.
Yeah, but so, like, it's not kind of cool to use a real thing that happened, like that, Sidney. But then there's also, like,
I'm dead, Sarah. It don't matter.
That's true. Thank you, Sidney. Thank you. But there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, there's a bunch of, and I don't know how patent law works in the EU. It wasn't the EU at the time. But, like, that every time they try to put a patent out, somebody else puts it out right before them.
You know, I think, like, there was something with, like, Italy that doesn't have, like, the same patent laws. Like, anyway, someone is trying to sabotage the company from the upper, like, the upper tier.
It has to be somebody who is way up there.
Tier, yeah.
In other words, it doesn't say that, but it's got to be one of those people in that boardroom.
One of the boardroom people.
Or maybe Reese.
Or Reese.
He's the only other person, because it's in, like, they are so multinational, and it's in all parts of the company's operations. So the company is not actually rich. The company is seriously struggling.
This dumb bitch is like, I'm just going to leave this highly confidential file out in plain sight.
And remember, this is the kind of house that has servants. I mean, this is not like in her own living room. This is like in a, you know.
So she decides that, like, she reads all this. She realizes that her company is, like, someone in her family, or someone that she, you know, is in love with, being Reese, because she has a massive crush on him, is trying to destroy her company. So she does what every woman would do and goes out for brunch.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I mean, she's like, I need brunch. I need to think about this.
Bottomless fucking mimosas before I can think about this.
So she gets in this old Jeep, and she's driving along.
Now that I think about it, actually, nobody was there because she didn't tell them they were coming. So she was the only person in.
I know, but still, like, you still had the.
But no, I mean, it matters, because the other thing that she needs is that she has called Alec.
Yeah.
And Reese.
Yeah.
Both Alec and Reese, and said, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh God, we don't have anything we don't even have any coffee. I need to go buy some stuff.
Yeah. So she's tooling down the mountains, and the brakes are out.
And this is the kind of scene, young ladies, that you used to see way more often in old stuff before we had power brakes.
Oh my God, it was really good, though. Like, it was really well written.
Oh, yeah.
She manages, like, she's going down these mountains. She's like, and, like, the part I liked about it was she was like, motherfucker, I'm going to get murdered, and people are going to think it's an accident. She's like, not today.
They're going to think I don't know how to drive.
Not today. So, like, she sees a trail.
Like a logging trail.
And she's like, fuck it. And, like, just turns into it, and, like, it's going uphill. And she hits a tree, but, like, she doesn't, you know, go off a cliff.
Yeah, it's into the ocean.
Yeah. So she wakes up 2 days later in the hospital. And Alec is there. Reese has been calling. You know, she's like, someone tried to kill me.
Yeah, I want to see the fucking car.
And they're like, no, you're too weak. And she's like, fuck you. So they go to...
I like her. I really do like her.
I do like her.
Yeah.
So they go to the...
like, police garage.
Yeah, and, like, they're like, nothing has happened to this Jeep. You're just... You know what? You're just hysterical.
And then, your brakes got wet. Because that is the thing with drum brakes. Let me explain that the way that people used to murder people all the time, I assume books, I don't know if life or not, but in books, is that either you couldn't disable somebody's brakes such that they wouldn't work at all, because then they would know going 5 miles an hour out of their own driveways and would stop.
Oh my God, I just thought of the best, like... Patreon corner for you, because, you know, we've been thinking about yours, is we need Sarah Explains It All, where we just have some weird little topic that Sarah can just go off on.
Well, this I only know from, like, books that are just like this.
So
you had to, like, halfway cut the brake lines so that they would work for a little while, or you would have to take fluid out of the brake drum.
They said that these got wet, and it had been rainy, and, like, the road was wet, and again, they were like, you're just hysterical.
And and this is legit, that they're like, hey, look, obviously nobody came back and fixed it afterwards. Yeah. Because there's no wrench marks. I mean, like, so
they make a point of it. They make a point of like doing this.
Can we say how they actually did it, though?
No, not yet. Let's
get to it. I love it, though. It's so good.
We have to wait for our person.
Oh, yeah. We had to wait for our person.
There's a special guest star later. Okay.
Yes.
So they get back to the house, and the file is missing.
It looks like maybe the patio doors, like the great doors, like blew open in the storm.
So she doesn't have the file.
It's just pages of it.
She's back to square one. She finds out from Alec that the banks, that, you know, Sam had to take out a lot of loans because of all of the stuff that was, like, happening. And
we would like our money now.
Yeah, so the banks are calling in the loan. So she's like, fuck that. I'm going to talk to the bankers. Because she has decided at this point, when she sees the file, that she's not selling. Yeah. She is going to...
Well, and she knows that if they sold, then entirely new board of directors would come on, and she would not be able to investigate.
She also realized, like, if somebody's trying to murder her, they probably murdered her dad.
Yeah.
So she goes and meets with the Swiss bankers, and it's this kind of awesome scene, especially for something in 1977.
Yes.
Like, it's all men, and it's just this 20-something-year-old girl, and they're just like, giving her that face, like that sure Jan face, like, and she keeps talking, and they try to interrupt her, and she's like, I'm not finished. And it happens over and over and over. Now, prior to this, she had a meeting with one of the chemists, one of the people who was, like, inventing new vaccines and all this stuff. And this is going to be another diatribe. This guy, I can't remember his name. It doesn't matter because there's 1,000 people in this book. He's on the cusp of a breakthrough for not the cure for cancer.
No.
Not, what were some of the, like, any other
artificial womb.
Nothing.
A pill that makes you skinny, but you have to keep taking it so that the company keeps making money.
A pill that fixes your eyesight, but you have to keep taking it.
Cure for baldness.
Yeah. Arthritis cure. Like,
yeah.
I mean, heart cure. It is a pill that will let you live to 150 to 200 years old.
In other words, it is something so stupid.
It is a vampire pill. So she's like, this will change everything. So she tells the banker, she's like, I can't tell you everything, but I have something that is going to revolutionize. I need 3 months. And the bankers are like, okay.
I mean, like, if we get our money anyway, I mean, you know.
Yeah. So she buys herself some time. So Elizabeth, again, to recap, Elizabeth, not selling, gonna be chairman of the board, trying to understand this company that is massive, has a secret long living pill, and someone is trying to kill her.
Yes.
So that's where we are at this point. We're also dealing with these other characters that have their own insane shit. This
So
book
what they're
is
trying
crazy.
to do, it just kind of keeps alive the motive that any one of these people might have.
Yes. So.
So the thing is, this is the dumbest fucking thing, because it acts like these people don't have any fucking money.
Well, they act, I mean, that is the thing is, like, again, if you're talking about DuPonts, or, because that's the only thing I know to compare it to,
like, if you're on the board, you
or
get
like a
salary.
Rockefeller, or
Yeah.
like, you know, like early Rockefellers, like, they're, like, they are supposing that all of their money is in just this stock.
Yeah, that they don't have any investments. Or
That they didn't diversify a portfolio.
Yeah,
Like,
and they get paid. That's the thing. If you're on a board of a company like this, you get a paycheck.
you do get a paycheck. I don't understand it.
That was totally my plan. Of there was $1 billion lottery ticket sold in South Carolina several months ago, and I did not win it, but I had a whole plan for if I won it, and it was going to be that, I was going to form a giant foundation.
That's what you do.
Hire all my friends. We would get paid
And then you get a
enough
paycheck.
money,
Yes.
and then we would just, like, give
Yes.
it away for the rest of our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And also, if you are a Rockefeller or a DuPont or whatever, you can walk into a bank and they'll just throw money
my
at
God, they're
you.
just gonna give
You
you
can
money.
get a real loan. You don't have to go to a loan shark who'll nail your knees to the floor.
Yes. So, okay, Alec is being threatened by a loan shark because of Vivian's gambling. The loan shark is like, I'm gonna nail your knees to the floor. Like, it's a very specific threat. And Alec's like, I need money. Then you have Evo, who's got Donatella, who's like,
She's increasing her
her
her levels.
she's attacking him. Like, he gets, like, again, there's a lot of Italian stereotypes. Like, he's getting scratched up and down.
Like, he has to, steal an alley cat to,
he
have an
lies
excuse.
and says it's the cat.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And then,
and she arranges to, run into him with his family, with her family in the park. I mean, she is escalating.
And then, so while all this is going on,
Anna has stabbed Walter with a pair of scissors.
Yeah. All right, so while all this is going on, Elizabeth is really trying to learn the business. Like, she is working, she is hustling, she is doing it. So we're probably at 2.5 months out, and she's working late one night. And
she and her secretary, who was Sam's secretary, so she doesn't trust this woman, and Reese.
Yeah, and Reese.
And
Reese leaves for a date, and Elizabeth is very jealous of the date. So they go down. And they're going to take the elevator.
There's a special executive elevator.
Yeah, like the service elevator.
Yeah.
So at the last minute, Elizabeth, a phone rings, and she's like, "Oh, that must be one of the investors." Blah blah blah, and she runs off.
But they don't tell you that.
Oh no, they do the secret, who really died. And so the elevator has an elevator like in Speed where the cables break, but there's no Keanu to fucking save it. So the elevator crashes down.
And it's actually really well. I mean, it's a terribly, scene. And evidently, I guess, Kate was just pasted into the floor. But,
Yeah.
Which, you can't do that in an elevator. And I know that Europe is different and that they have terrifying elevators in Europe because I've seen some of them. But this is a brand new building.
Oh, and we've forgotten. God, this is all over the place, but this book is all over the place. So while all of this shit is going on, while all of the things that we have just described to you are going on, there are little vignettes happening in various countries, various countries.
Oh, shit.
Always like where Elizabeth is sort of located, where you have you have a sex worker, and then you have a big dick bald guy. His big dick is very important. There's a big dick bald guy.
He mentioned his big dick all the time. And he has a shaved chest, I believe.
And then there is a third person. And they are basically, they hire these sex workers and say, we want to do a pornographic film with you. And they're like, shoot, the sex worker's like, okay, I'm going to ask you for an absurd amount of money. And the person's like, all right, yeah. And maybe, anyway. So, if you have money problems, maybe don't be, shelling out all this for...
Right, yeah.
All right, so what's happening is, the big dick guy is fucking the shit out of these girls. And these girls are loving it. They are loving it.
You only get paid if you have an orgasm.
Yeah. But they're like, fuck, this is good big dick.
Yeah.
And then basically what's happening is right when these ladies are about to whatever, have an orgasm, the guy murders her.
Strangles them.
Yeah. So.
And they're all blonde women who have a red ribbon around their neck.
Yeah, red ribbon.
This thing.
And so you have snuff films happening in various parts of the world.
Snuff films used to be a thing that people thought happened. Mm. If snuff films were real, they'd be all over the place now.
And then you have Sidney Sheldon, describing, the red light districts of various places. Yeah. And it's wild, because it's he's you can get cunnilingus, you can get analingus, you can get dog sex, you can get this, you can...
It's if you ask Sidney Sheldon, okay, name a kink, and you think that he's gonna say, oh, I don't know, balloons. No, he's dog fucking yeah.
What was wild to me is I've never heard analingus as a term. It's always been just rim jobs.
They didn't have the term "they eat an ass" out here in 1977. And I promise you, I will bet you cash money that 11-year-old Sarah McBride
you were looking up analingus.
Yes, I was. Yeah. I'm sure I looked it up in the dictionary.
And I bet you were just what?
Is that a thing people do?
So okay. So we have Elizabeth's intrigue. You have what's going on with these murders. All right. So at Kate's funeral, we have
the reveal that Elizabeth isn't dead. Yeah. The girl on the front cover isn't dead.
But then we have the most bizarre thing. I guess this is part of a series. So we have.
I don't think it is though.
We have this character show up, Max Hornung.
I'm gonna Google this shit.
All right, so Max Hornung, Hornung. My German, I have not had beer, so I can't be Hornung, So, what? I almost threw this book away because, y'all, I counted it because it drove me crazy.
This is maybe 100 pages ago, y'all.
And here's the thing, I did not know I was this kind of OCD. In 2.5 pages, I'm not even 2.5 pages.
There's a German cellist.
So, all right, okay. 2.5 pages of writing. How many words do you think that would be?
I don't know.
500? No. Sidney Sheldon uses the full name, Max Hornung.
No, this does not seem to be a guy who appears ever again.
Max Hornung. He uses it 27 times. 27 times. In his description of Max Hornung, he says Max Hornung. So Max Hornung appeared on the scene. This guy... Max Hornung is oh my God, he's a forensic accountant.
But they don't call him that because maybe they didn't have that term back then.
But he's forensic accountant, Max Hornung. Max Hornung is here. And Max Hornung drives everyone crazy.
And it's supposed to be funny that he's
he's like Columbo, but not as charming.
Yeah, because he had been with their taxation department and has been really good at it. So everybody is you should go be a cop.
Yeah, so he becomes a cop and he's tiny. I feel like he's Sidney Sheldon is really what he is, because he's
he's a Marty Stew.
He's this little man. He's they said for the Swiss guard, or the Swiss police, he's too small, but he's so good at what he does. That's why Max Hornung.
And he he takes the bus rather than take a cab, and it's all supposed to be really funny. And I'm people are getting murdered left and right here. Can you focus, Sidney?
Jesus. I mean, I just want to It drove me crazy. Like, his confidence was shaken the moment Max Horning reported to him. He tried to sweep Max Horning under the rug. I mean, it's just like, in reality, luck had nothing to do with it. Detective Max Horning solved criminal cases exactly the same way that accountant Max Horning had exposed 100 ingenious schemes to defraud banks and the government. Max Horning had a single track mind, and that was a very narrow gauge at that. Like, that is, y'all. Max Horning, like, it is tattooed on my brain, and I was like, this motherfucker Max Horning, like, it broke me. I don't know what it was, but just...
He had that big dick energy.
No, he did not. Max Horning did not have, like, the biggest thing about Max Horning was his name.
No, but for computers.
Oh my god. Alright, so...
He's the only one in this book who's ever met a computer, which is fascinating.
Max Horning shows up to the fucking funeral, and he's like, hey girl, to Elizabeth, he's like, I think somebody's trying to murder you. Like, and she's like, and Reese is like, what? No. You know, and like, you know, he's like, she can't talk about this now. She's fragile. So Max is going to all these different countries. So he's going to investigate each one of the family members and then tell us what we already know about, like, the family members having money problems. Yeah. So Max is
he's putting all the stuff together.
Yeah. Max is doing all this. And meanwhile, Elizabeth's vampire pill gets burned.
Like somebody blows up the light and murders the scientist.
And, I mean, she is pretty boss in that. Like, she's, like, all the security guards, she's like, you're fucking fired. Yeah. Like, she is really good at being a CEO.
And then I think that might be, like, right then is when she finds the bug behind, like, her like, the family portrait. Now, the funny thing is, okay, y'all, you don't have to watch that many spy movies to know you find a bug, you leave it there. Yeah. Because now you know that there's a bug. Whereas if you remove it...
you can give them the information that you want.
Yeah. And I thought that that's where this is going to go, is that she would, like, feed and then see where it turned up.
Yeah. And but no. I feel like Elizabeth, towards the last 100 pages, like, kind of fell apart. I mean, I still liked her, but Elizabeth realizes with the explosion of this lab, like, oh, fuck, I've got to do something. So she proposes to Reese.
Because she knows that the bankers... and she actually, like, tells the bankers that she's like, okay, the problem is me, right? Yeah. The problem is that you don't think that I can right the ship. And they're like, yeah, it is. Like, okay, well, here's this dude, this super competent dude who runs the company anyway.
And I want his dick, so it's a win-win.
Yes.
So Reese is obviously like, yes, I will marry you. They get married. They go, because Reese has business in their Rio factory. Yes. They go to Rio for their honeymoon.
They do it, and the doing it is...
It's good doing it. Yeah. They have good sex. So, again, she knows that someone is trying to murder her. And she starts to put... Oh, the other thing that we found out from Max Horning is that Reese was in...
Chamonix.
Yeah, he was in Chamonix and when Sam died.
But there was a guide who was not the usual guide, but the guide evidently didn't exist. In other words,
a fake out. And
like an assassin or something.
Yeah, so...
Couldn't have been somebody that Sam knew.
Sam was like, well, I was there, but I wasn't
Reese was
there.
Like,
Reese was there. He was fucking a girl, because that's what Reese does. Like, Reese has big dick energy. Yeah. And, you know, at first Elizabeth is fine with it. She believes him. But then, like, she starts getting... clues. She gets a couple of clues that from both Reese and then later from Alec, that both Reese and Alec know about the corporate sabotage.
Right. And that Reese has the report.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, fuck, it's Reese trying to kill me. Mm-hmm. So, like, she dips
Even
out.
though she knows that she's under police surveillance.
Yeah.
No, she's like, let me escape that.
Yeah, so she dips out and goes back to Sardinia. So
that's where she feels safe. Like,
yeah, that is like her home. So she goes to the Sardinia house. And
she's just like heartbroken because
she's in love with Reese.
That she and Reese were finally...
She's in love with him.
And then she feels taken advantage of.
And, but the thing is, Max Horning has figured out who the murderer is. And he's like, I've got to get to Sardinia.
But the thing is, if it had been Reese, the plan had to have absolutely depended on him marrying her. Yeah. Because if you kill Sam and then don't marry Elizabeth, then, like, if they just go public, then you'll, like, probably lose your job with a golden parachute.
Because we also find out, remember, this is, like, the DuPonts. Yeah. So we're talking about more money than fucking God.
Yeah.
So Reese, who is basically VP.
Yeah.
Like, the sixth in line.
Yeah.
Is only making, and I looked it up because I was whatever. He's making $80,000.
Yeah.
which in today's money is $280,000.
Which is good money, but not that kind of money.
No, that's like...
This guy makes millions.
Millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, and so...
And I also looked at... That's funny, because I looked up what the guy, the vineyard guy, really owed. Because I was like, okay, so $2 million. Could he have raised that or not? And I looked it up, that's about $4 million. So like, no, but you could have gotten a loan.
The other thing that happens that makes Elizabeth really think that Reese is involved is Helene and Reese had a one-off. Like, they had a mini affair. And so...
And then I guess, like, Reese didn't like having a cattle project up his ass.
So, all right, so Helene calls to meet with Reese. And he's like, I've got to go to Paris. That's what, like, he's got to go to Paris. And he's like, I'll be back in a day, because, like, that's how they world travel. Like, they're just...
They have a private plane.
So...
Even really rich people today don't have a private plane that they own anymore.
So, I have to tell you, like, it is really interesting. So Chrissy Teigen did a, like, Twitter, like, Q&A about what it's like to be mega rich. Mm-hmm. And, like, so that's one of the things that she talks about is, like with air travel. She said, like, you know, when you go to the airport, like, there's the regular airport, but they have a place that they go that's, like, like, you know, disconnected, and that's where they go through security and stuff, and then they can just, like, get on regular planes and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry to digress.
But I think these days most people actually buy a share in a jet.
Yeah. So, it makes me think of, like, my husband is from Albany, like the Albany area. Yeah. And, like, the Albany airport, there's, like, the Albany airport, and then, like, right beside it is this thing called Million Air. And it just cracks me up. So, all right, Reese goes to meet with Helene, who he'd had an affair with. Helene is wanting, like, she's like, fuck Elizabeth, like, we need this money, fuck it. She asks Beau Charles and then Reese to kill Elizabeth. So that's where we're at, is, like, Reese is, like, just staring at Helene.
And can you imagine if Helene, like, what if, because Helene is the one who, she didn't have a seat on the board. She had to, like, marry fucking Charles for it. Like,
so she marries the weakest guy.
Yeah, but because she, like, wants to, like, well, I've never had that before. I'll try that at the menu.
I think that's also, like, she did because she wants the power, but, like, also, like...
But then when Elizabeth came in and said, I would like you guys to vote me president, and Helene's like, I could have just fucking done that?
It is weird that, like... It is weird that, like, in every other, like, family, whatever, that it has to be the man, but then Elizabeth gets to be on it. All right, so Reese is in Paris dealing with Helene. Elizabeth is in Sardinia thinking that Reese is trying to kill her.
And she's in, and of course she's alone in the house again. Like, there's never any service there in Sardinia because, like, she never tells them she's coming. She just shows up. She knows there's somebody in the house. She hears something, and she's like, shit, if they murder me and make it look like an accident, or like I killed myself, then they'll all get everything they want. If I fight, if I make it obvious that they murdered me, then they'll get nothing. So she starts, like, wrecking the house. She starts, like, pulling the cords out of the phone.
Oh, we have to backtrack again. I'm so sorry, but Sarah loved this point, and I want to make sure Sarah gets to talk about this point.
What?
So Max Hornung,
oh my god,
figures out. Remember that we talked about the car?
Oh yeah. Oh, this is the best. Okay, so
Max Hornung.
I thought this was, like, genuinely clever, Sidney. So the way that, like, the person... See, we're not even at the person yet, and you're letting me say it. When he finally gets to tell everybody what happened, he's like, oh, they just switched the cars.
Well, but he had figured it out by the point that we're at.
Yeah, so she hit the car, she hit the tree, she's unconscious, she goes to the hospital.
Because Jeeps look alike. That was the thing. He's like, all Jeeps look alike.
There's a dirty cop, and say when she... Like, the dirty cop actually meets her...
There's always a dirty cop.
I know. He meets her at the... that's why she feels safe to go to the house by herself. Because the dirty cop comes up the hill with her, checks out the whole house with her, and then you find out that, like, he's the one who replaced the car. But what a genius idea.
I know, it was clever.
Yeah, it was really good.
All right, so she's in the house, she's alone. She hears a voice, and she thinks it's, like, Reese screaming for help. And she keeps thinking that the police protection that she has is just going to kill Reese. And so then all of a sudden, the reveal. And it's...
Well, no, she doesn't know yet.
No,
even then she's... Okay, no, because what happens is, she's pulling, like, phone cords out of the wall and stuff, trying to make it, like, obvious that she was murdered, and then the fire starts. She's like, oh, that's how they're gonna handle it. They're just gonna burn the whole house down, so, like, there'll be no evidence at all. So, she hasn't seen the person yet. She climbs up onto the roof, like, it's all actually very
She's hanging from a balcony, like, postcards from the edge style, just hanging there.
She gets on the roof, and she sees, and she still thinks, oh, God, he's come to save save me, Alec.
Yeah.
And, by then everybody else in the world has put this together.
Son of a bitch, you know what else we forgot?
What?
So Alec and his wife Vivian, we forgot about the spikes in the knees.
Oh, yeah, so they finally did spike somebody's knees, and it was Alec's wife, but she had it coming anyway.
No, we have to talk about the fucking knee spikes.
Okay, because they said, they literally nail your kneecaps to the ground. That's what they say.
I don't understand how that works.
So if they did it through the back of your knee, they'd just be nailing your knee to the ground. You wouldn't call it that. I think you have to be kneeling, and it goes between your kneecap and your knee. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
But because if you're just laying...
Then you just nailed your knees to it.
If you're just laying with your legs flat and nailing a knee to the floor, and there was, spikes...
You wouldn't call it kneecaps.
I don't know. I mean, it's still technically your kneecap.
I know, but that's very specific.
Okay, but if you're kneeling, you can't just be... It has to be a kneel where you're kind of prone. It can't just be a kneel because your knees are going to be, your calves and your thighs are going to be meeting.
No. I'm saying what they're doing is, and here I'm demonstrating.
Oh my God, we were demonstrating.
Is that you're kneeling and they go like this.
Oh, they're coming from the front.
Yeah, they're coming from the front to separate your kneecaps from your knee.
I was wondering if they came from the back. So, anyway, me and Sarah have talked a lot about this kneecap situation. So, Vivian is crippled.
I Googled it and it was not helpful.
Vivian is crippled for life. Anyway. Back to the Sardinia house. There's Alec. Alec is the person that's been doing all this shit.
Because, of course, he's been trying to symbolically murder Vivian.
Yes, he's been trying to symbolically murder Vivian.
I guess he's been making money off the snuff films, but they don't mention that. Because they found the snuff films because somebody had, a stroke when they had it in their pocket.
Oh my God,
it was the most bizarre way. I mean, they've been pulling these girls out of canals.
And the big, it's I guess it's supposed to be shocking because, Elizabeth and Alec were the closest. She was the closest with him.
She trusted him.
So,
and then you also find out about Anna's not live babies, her ghost babies.
Ghost baby crazy.
Because the cops come and they're like, okay, so the maid, they accidentally didn't tell the maid not to come when she was having one of her episodes, and the Max Horning. So Walter had gone to all kinds of shrinks, and this is his, I guess, mental health care plan for this woman, which is tragic because he's trying to help her, but this is not how you do it.
But
and he's like, okay, so my friend is delusional and murderous. And he went to every shrink in town, looking for advice.
Well,
rather than getting her help.
Yeah, it was very strange.
He has her locked up, and she tells a maid, and the maids come and call the cops, and the cops come, and there's this whole thing where he answers the door, and everything is fine, but then they come finally and really investigate.
What even happened?
She stabbed him with scissors.
I mean, she stabbed him with scissors. What even happened with Evo and his I can't remember.
Oh gosh, I think maybe he comes home one day, and all 8 of them are sitting there?
Yeah. Alright, so Sardinia, there's Alec, the house is burning.
And he just burns up ecstatically.
Yeah, Reese shows up. He's there to save.
It's all over now, my dear.
Elizabeth. Max Horning is there because Max Horning knows what's happening.
Max Horning is everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Max Horning is here right now.
And then the book ends with basically Alec burning to death. Mm-hmm. It was very strange, but
and
again,
it's all about he thinks he's a saint because he didn't do it to his wife,
and then Reese proclaims his love to Elizabeth.
Yeah,
we have no idea what happens to the company.
Yeah, no idea.
I
think it'll be fine because rich people stay rich.
Rich people do stay rich. They are really good at staying rich.
Yes, they bounce. They are completely fine.
I feel like we need a talking break. And we'll come back with questions.
Because, y'all, this book, I would say you should read this book. Because,
no, don't read it. It's wild.
It's wild, but it's also,
I felt like it was low-rent James Bond, and I was here for it.
Absolutely. Except that it did have, a lot more agency.
It did.
By women. So, we will get into all of that when we come back.
I gotta take a break, because I'm out of breath.
Hi, I'm Chris.
And I'm also Chris.
And together we do a comedy podcast called Cooking with Grief.
Each week we dive into 4 surprising facts about anything from science to history to the weird world we live in, making jokes about all of it as we go along.
You can find us on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
And you can also find us on Twitter at Cooking with Grief. No G on cooking.
Glitter, apparently, is so unique that it can be effectively used as forensic evidence.
The Bank of England's chief economist has urged to start using people's Spotify playlist as a way of measuring the economy.
In China, Avengers has been translated as Fulian, or Women's Federation.
Not only did the Russians capture the Crimean Peninsula, they also captured some Ukrainian military dolphins.
in Pinocchio. In the film, becomes a real boy. In the original, it ends with a cat and a fox hanging him from a tree. It was just...
Scientists have wiped a snail's memory.
And Slytherin's going, can we have an extensive series of tunnels sort of wide enough to fit a giant people-killing snake?
Where do you fall on the scone debate?
Scone, obviously.
Oh, I go with scone.
So, what have you got to lose? Give us a try.
Nothing to lose but your sweet, precious time.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're back.
Ugh, I felt like I was the Micro Machine Man.
Siri, oh my god, you know, and we probably missed, like, this is like Sweet Liar.
Yeah.
But there's more stuff probably that we didn't even, like, get to. It is
so crazy.
that kind of book, y'all.
Alright, question time. Alright, big dick energy or big dick energy?
Reese had some big dick energy.
Yeah, he did.
And he did not, like, try to walk in and take over. Like, he just, like, he was like, okay, so let me answer your questions about the company. He didn't even, like, answer questions she didn't ask.
I thought that he was going to try to seduce her to marry into the company.
Yeah.
I really did.
No, he was extremely
I
respectful.
really liked him.
Yeah, I mean, among the kind of guy that you get in this kind of thing that's known you since you were 16 and is a little bit gross.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
he never acted inappropriately.
Never, like, when she was under 16, or under 16, when she was under, like, an adult.
Yeah.
Again, like, their first, like I said, like, when when she was 21, they kind of had, like, they didn't even, like, it was just, like, a fun day,
yeah.
you know, like.
They just, like, they enjoyed each other's company.
Yeah, so.
The weird thing is, like, I remembered him being so mega hot, and I remembered him being in the book a lot more, so I guess I really liked him. It even does that thing where a character has to correct somebody's pronunciation so you know how you're supposed to say his name.
It was, like, in the book, book 3, or no, the Goblet of Fire, where we finally found out, like.
Hermione.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, the thing is, like, Reese was a new name to me, which, of course, is such a romance novel name.
Oh my god, it's such a good name.
And, like, he's got that Welsh coloring with the dark hair with the blue eyes, which is kind of my jam. You can keep the blonde men, I'll take the dark hair with the blue eyes.
That's fine, you can have, like, the coal miner trolls, and...
Only if they're hot.
No, he was hot. I did enjoy him, so...
Yeah, and he wasn't just hot, he was, like, respectful.
Yeah, I enjoyed that he was, like, every moment with him and her, it was never... You know, he was never gross with
Which
her.
is weird. This work, I keep calling it a movie. It's very cinematic.
It reads as a movie, and you can tell that Sidney Sheldon is a, like, movie writer.
But it's, like, there's so much gross stuff in this, but never is it actually intruding on, like, the central relationship in this, which I appreciate a lot.
Okay, you're the
Sorry,
reader.
well, I was sipping my wine.
Okay.
Would you talk shit with or about the heroine?
Oh, I really liked her.
Yeah.
I really liked
Especially
her.
for 1977.
I'm really surprised that I liked her, because, I was not expecting it. But,
no.
Again, she's very competent. She's very, like, I liked also, like, even though she does a lot of, like, fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's not perfect.
And I feel like everybody can relate to that, like, taking something on that, like, is intimidating and being like, oh, but she's great. I mean, aside from just leaving confidential folders lying around.
Well, okay.
She's
never had a real problem in her entire life. Like, she's never met a problem.
This bitch is getting casual brunch. But, no, I really enjoyed her a lot.
And, of course, her fault is that, you have to trust somebody. She just picks the wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is funny, because I would have been, like, I feel like my first move as being, like, new CEO is I would have found myself a, like... detective and be like, anybody comes to you and wants to pay you, I will always pay you more. Mm-hmm. You're now my person. I need you to dig up all the shit on everybody.
I guess, like, the reason she didn't do that is because she could not be sure that they were not already...
Well, she tried to get her father as, like, the investigator that her father had. And, like, you find out that he had been kind of already bought out by somebody.
Like, everybody that she talks to says something that means that either they were spying.
Yes.
But, I mean, like, so one of those people is Kate, the lady who, the secretary who died in the elevator thing. She says something that makes it clear that she... But then again, like, that's the job of a good secretary, is to know every damn thing, so...
Yeah, but I loved her. I loved her a lot. Okay, so we've gone back to Bechtel the bitch.
Yeah, well, so this is interesting, because, there aren't, I mean, because there's the schoolgirl people, but she's never really close to anybody in school. The women in this are fascinating.
They really are. There's a lot of interesting female characters, like Helene being this, like, type A,
beyond type A.
Oh my god, like, the other thing that got me was, like...
But this, like, over-the-top cast iron bitch.
Oh my god. So you have her, and then you have, like, the Evo description of women, like, as jaguars. Like, it's very, they're all animal, you know, musky scents. And
I mean, obviously, I, knowing a little bit more about, I guess, any company than Sidney Sheldon does, I would have immediately gone to the secretary. Although she does, like, you know,
and make her be.
I was surprised that they never had
I would have
really on-screen talk.
Okay, I mean, again, I loved like Elizabeth's portrayal. I loved how she like dealt with, and they talked about like being a woman in a man's world, essentially, like being in business. But I would have liked to have seen, like you said, like her, like been like, "Yo, Kate, I'm gonna pay you twice as much as you're getting paid." But, like, I'm your bitch now. Like, you, like, we tight, you know?
How can you guarantee that?
But, like, it was just, like, some kind of female friendship, because there's not any real female
She felt very alone for good reason.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, but there's really no real female relationships in this. I wanted to see more of Helene. Just because, I mean,
I hated her so much.
Oh, yeah, she's awful. But the thing is, like, the awful thing is that she's horrible and terrifying, and they do kind of play it like it's not super serious, but in fact, she's, like...
it's like, what's wild about
torturing
it is,
this
like,
man.
every person that is, like, about, like, I don't know, again, the French and the Italians are these very oversexed, almost comical people, and I was like, all right, I see you, Sidney. I see what you're doing. Yeah. Like, but again... Liz is so well done, and again, you know, the other thing I keep saying again, Sidney is like, when you get to Anna's baby madness, like, Ghost baby madness, I was like, okay, like, you know, that was the thing, because she was completely fine, and then she, like, lost her babies, and then...
Well, she was always fragile.
Well, but here's the thing, she's fragile. But
this
like,
Victorian thing, you know,
but she's fragile, but then all of a sudden she loses her babies and, like, becomes schizophrenic. Like, yo.
It's not real. It's
that's why I feel like, again, I can say batshit crazy.
It's just played for drama. It's like, not the way that,
it was very Victorian.
Yes.
And I didn't appreciate her, like, that character... was, like, I feel like the weakest one.
You know, it did just occur to me, I even made the joke online about this kind of airport book, that her breast rested against himself, breastily conspiring.
Oh my God.
But, you know, he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually talk about how people's breasts are all the time.
No.
He actually writes women, he writes the women who are not the main character as badly as he writes the men, as extremely as he writes the men, but, like, the main character woman is not written like that.
No, she's not. But, I mean, yeah.
She's never thinking about her boobs.
Weird dichotomy. And then, like, if you think about, like, what he wrote, what's interesting is, like, if you think about the movies and the TV shows that he wrote, like, the Patty Duke show, that's a female television show, Heart to Heart. Like, Stephanie Hart is just as powerful. I can't even remember the guy's name. I remember Stephanie Hart, but, like...
He knew how to tell women's stories.
Yeah, so it is interesting. It's like the females that he deems worthy of his time get a really good treatment.
But that's what this is. Like, this is another one of those books where there's one way to be a woman that is safe and correct.
It is kind of wild, because this is our first book that's, like... Well, I mean, aside from, like, our, like, Hanukkah books, this is the first book that we've had that's, like, through a male gaze.
And I'm like, this is gross, and I want to take a shower.
Yeah, so it is really interesting.
Even though it's not about how she was thinking about her boobs all the time, there's something gross about the way that women are.
There's still a male gaze.
There's, like, you can either have, like, a virago, or you can have, like, a mad lady in the attic, like a Bertha Rochester, or you can have the proper one, Elizabeth. Yeah. Now, granted, she's not a virgin.
No, she's not a virgin.
Yeah, she had, like, an awkward encounter sex. Like, she decided to lose her virginity at 18.
But she, you know, like, she really didn't, like, have, like, good sex until, like, it was real.
Yeah, she lost her good sex virginity. But,
so it is really interesting, like, to have a book from this male gaze, like, this male lens, and see, like, what characters are worth his time, and then, like, to see how characters that...
Oh, you know what else we've read from a man is R.L. Stein.
Oh, we have that.
Yeah, and it's always weird about the women, isn't it?
Yeah, it's, like, this male gaze of, like... the objectification of women. I mean, and here's the thing, like, Elizabeth really doesn't become worthy until she gets over her shyness and loses weight. So, I mean, there's still that aspect.
Yeah, she couldn't have been fat and then run Roth and Sons.
No, it was like she had to become beautiful.
Yes.
And so...
And of course, like, Reese, there's a scene where Reese hasn't seen her since she was younger, and she's like, blossomed. Whoa.
Yeah, so...
But yet she's wearing very demure clothes, you know.
She's so typical, like, again, good girl, so.
Although, a bit, like, granted, yes, she's not, like, the good girl who's a virgin. She is, like, sexually empowered, and, yeah, I mean,
But she's, I don't even know how to call her sexually empowered, because she had sex out of spite, because Reese went off with a lady.
Well, yes.
And so, like, she's never really taken charge of her own sexuality.
Yeah,
it has
and she
to
got
be,
statutory raped by a teacher.
Yeah, it has to be Reese that, like, introduces her to...
That's true.
An orgasm beyond a shower head, so...
That's true. But she does learn how to use a shower head appropriately.
Alright,
do people shower with them? Is that...
Oh my god, I remember, this is a Courtney tangent. Do you remember, the comedian Brett Butler?
Yeah. Oh, I loved her.
So she had that show, Grace Under Fire, and there was one episode where, like, it was just, like, one of those, like, uptight ass moms, and, like, her character was like, oh, honey, you obviously have not figured out, like, the shower massager, like, the good Lord intended, and that always makes me think of that whenever I hear, like, shower heads. Alright, so your question.
Yeah,
this is gonna be a wild one.
When it comes to consent, is this book more Robin Thicke or Marvin Gaye? The sexual politics of this book are incomprehensible.
It's insane. It's insane. I feel like he was trying to be international man.
Yeah.
So being like, we're in Germany, where things are wild, and people are having sex with dogs, and 12-year-olds.
You can buy a 12-year-old and a dog, and a 12-year-old or a dog.
And anal linguists, you know,
Tossing salads.
So, like, when you get to, like, Reese and...
That was not in the dictionary, by the way. It was not like, see also tossing salads.
So when you get to Reese, like, Reese is very, obviously, consensual and that kind of stuff. But then you got Helene raping her husband.
Which, I mean, good on it. Okay, like, the way it's portrayed is
she
not...
is raping that man.
No, I'm not, like, good on her. I'm saying good on Sidney Sheldon.
Yeah.
For portraying, like, that a woman can rape a man.
Yeah.
And that a woman can abuse a man emotionally and mentally and on all these different ways.
But it's kind of ass.
Yes, it's so over the top you can't take it seriously. It is not relatable.
It's really upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, like, she'll...
And then you have, like, the snuff films. Then we have snuff films.
A thing that was never really the thing.
I'm pointing at this wine quietly.
I'm sorry.
Sarah does not understand.
I thought you were pointing, like, because you're so excited about snuff films.
No,
although I do have to say, if you're going to be a serial killer, you should monetize that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Yeah, that's the gig economy. You know, if you're not, don't just, like, kill people. Like, kill people on camera and get money for it.
Oh my god.
I'm sure he was
that's the don't fuck with cats. Like, that's don't fuck with cats. So
yeah, it's consent in this book is interesting. If you're one of the favored people, then consent is, like, very important and taken seriously. If you're not one of the favored people, the other thing that she did to Charles when she was raping him is when he came, she put a bunch of crushed ice on his testicles.
Yes. She's the fucking worst.
She's a monster.
I know. It's like, and I'm like, when you find out Reese fucks her, I was like, God. Yeah.
And did you do the ice thing with your Reese? Because like it almost seems like Helene like read some of those bad Cosmo sex tips and like went a little.
She's described as an animal too. Like, there's a lot of animal female descriptions. So
yeah, like everybody but Liz. And of course we have the statutory rape scene.
Oh yeah. Where the teacher sneaks into a dorm and like starts kissing and going down on her student.
Like, you're never going to get caught doing that. But it describes her. She had previously been described in such a positive way, like her soft flesh.
And then all of a sudden it's like gross and
her breasts are like withered apples.
Oh, God.
And the funny thing is, I actually did remember that part.
You're like, yep, this tracks. Oh, it was so terrible. It bothered me.
And it wasn't treated, like, it was treated as kind of a laugh, you know?
Yeah, it was like, ha ha ha.
Then she found out she wasn't a lesbian. Yeah, like, well, maybe because she got raped?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, what the shit, y'all? So, this book is very confusing on consent.
Yeah. So, it's wild. Okay, how badly are you judging your mom off for reading this book?
My mother evidently read this book because I stole
That's how you got it, yeah.
Yeah, I was, I know I was between the ages of 9 and 13 because I remember, for some reason, specifically, the bookshelf I stole it from, which that's the house we were living in then. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
I can see this being like
not positive.
You know what, like, you know, I can
Things
see this,
to look up.
I can see this being, like, you know, one of those international, like, people of intrigue books.
It's an airport book. And, you know,
I totally get it.
The thing about airport books is that literally everybody reads airport books.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what they're for. They're for you don't have to stock a bunch of stuff because, you know, the vast majority of people are going to like to read Robert Ludlum,
Yeah.
or
the Jack Reacher, those books.
There are books where you experience them, but they just kind of roll over you and then they're gone. Like there's a great article about that in, I want to say, The Atlantic or whatever.
Like, here we go. Yeah.
Like you could very easily buy the same one and then like halfway through realize you've already read it.
It's like, oh yeah, we've done this already.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing. Like it's exciting but not too exciting. It's like a James Bond thing in that it's, if you've ever actually read any of those James Bond books, very brand name.
I got no time for them.
Like it's constantly like you took Ian Fleming took a salt shaker full of brand names.
I got no time. I got no time for a fucking, like, it's my least favorite thing in the world.
Oh, it's
the only one I liked, the only James Bond one I liked was the first with what's his face?
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, because I liked how...
You like a blonde man.
No, it wasn't even that. I liked Eva Green's character, and I liked, like, the sexiest scene in it to me was Eva Green, like, in kind of trauma in the shower, and, like, him just sitting there next to her. It was, like, the first time a female character was treated with any kind of human emotion or quality, because other than that, they're just they're commodities. They're brand names.
Yeah.
Like if you're hot and especially if you're hot and you're sort of brown, you're dead.
Yeah.
And I can't, I can't.
And they even make fun of your name.
I can't, you get some kind of oversexed name. I can't, it's like, to me, the James Bond series is 13-year-old boy, like, masturbation material, and I can't fucking stand it.
I used to go with my dad to go see the Pierce Brosnan James Bond. The weird thing is, like, okay, so they were always on TV all the time, so I know I've seen them all.
Yeah.
But, so my husband and I actually, like, he's, of course, seen them many times, and I'd seen most of them at some point or another, but we never actually sat down and watched them all. Oh, boy, there's some business in there.
I can't.
You forget a lot of it. Like, holy shit balls, is there some business in there.
Like, maybe I'll check back in if they do something fucking interesting with it. Like, and don't give me this, we've made a woman of color a 00. Like, until you make the character either, like, an Idris Elba or a lady, like,
James, you're a dinosaur!
I don't fucking care. Like, you know what I don't want to see is another white man being rich and whatever. Like, I'm over it.
Well, okay, so this book was actually better than that then.
Yeah,
because this book was more woke than James Bond.
Yeah.
Which is the low bar flattery of the year.
Yeah, it's like, you at least
More
have this
woke than
female
James
character
Bond.
with more agency than any of the fucking female characters in a James Bond.
She had actually more agency than anybody in this except for the guy who was trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Like, she had more agency.
Yeah.
She was the one who made things happen in this book,
Yeah.
except for the guy who murdered everybody.
Yeah.
Although, it's never entirely clear that it was just him. Because we never really found out exactly what happened on that glacier.
I feel like Colleen was part of it. Like, because I feel like it had to be a little bit of a conspiracy.
She would have left a vagina print on it.
So, it's fine.
They'd had to dust.
Fingerprints, vagina prints.
Oh my gosh. Would Scarlett Johansson be in the movie?
Yes.
Yes. Well, so are any of these people Jewish? Because Sam the Elder, definitely Jewish. Lived in the ghetto in Krakow. And I'm assuming because the fact they went to Switzerland, I guess they must have escaped the Holocaust.
Yeah, and I guess that is what, like,
Holocaust.
when we talked about the five factions, Sam the Elder was the one that was in Zurich, so he died off, and, like, the other people, like, were all gone. So,
but okay, so
but it's still their headquarters.
They're trading on this terrible Jewish history of being confined to a ghetto and all that. But then, so all these people are now. I understand that Judaism is matrilineal. Nobody's religious at all.
No, nobody, yeah.
My theory is just that their religion is pain.
Yeah.
And so they don't have room for any kind
there's
of,
no talk about Judaism in it, at all. So,
and I mean, I guess maybe he didn't want to make them Jewish and then be like, these rich people are Jewish. But, I mean, are they Jewish?
Sidney Sheldon talked about, like, Great Danes fucking people. Sidney Sheldon didn't give a fuck.
I believe it was a German Shepherd.
It was a Great Dane. It was a Great Dane.
Well, oh my God.
I was like, all right. I mean, he doesn't give a shit about that. I think he was just like, I need to have something harrowing. So,
Yeah, which is, I can't decide if it's worse or better.
1850s when vaccines were invented.
Yes.
So.
And at least it was not like a Holocaust story.
I mean, like, hey.
But, so they pull this,
we're talking about the Russians being terrible. Woo, like.
Yeah, I don't, it's very strange and it does feel uncomfortable in that sense that they're borrowing this. But then again, on the other hand, I don't think if they had been Jewish in the present day he could have stopped himself from saying something he
Oh my
shouldn't
God.
have said.
I know.
So maybe we're better off.
That's true.
I don't know, but there is like, so that's in there a little bit.
Yeah.
And of course, then Scarlett Johansson would be all into.
Oh, yeah. Would she be Elizabeth or would she be Helene?
She'd be, well, okay, she would be Elizabeth, but she would be like, man, I wish I'd been Helene.
Yeah.
Because you could let loose with Helene. You'd have your crushed ice dispenser.
Oh my God,
You'd have your rack of cattle
was
prods.
bananas.
And how big is this cattle prod?
That's what I'm saying. I want to think it's more like one of those, like, zapper things.
Because when I'm thinking about a cattle prod, I'm thinking about like a solid. Well, and it doesn't. I mean, like,
It doesn't, yeah.
Can you kill somebody that way?
I don't know.
Probably.
All right.
You're
Okay.
not. Oh, this is funny. You're not leaving the house looking like that. You can tell Sidney Sheldon's a damn man because these people must have been wearing amazing outfits, and he doesn't describe a single.
I don't get a name brand. I get restaurants, but I don't get a name brand outfit.
I want to know what all these people are wearing it all the time, and he never told us.
None of these bitches are like in Chloe. None of
No,
So,
you did get like that one outfit.
yeah.
Elizabeth, but no, what are these bitches wearing? How many double, triple, quadruple breasts? Like, can you be so rich in the 70s that you wore a quadruple breast?
Like, he couldn't even, like, throw Halston in there.
No.
Like, this bitch is not even in a Halster
No.
jumpsuit.
No,
Like,
oh, with her titties out. Come on. Oh my God, and her nipples just like, because it's the 70s.
all right, would your 12-year-old self have dog-eared any pages?
I did. Many. I like, look this up, look that up. Are you supposed to fuck a dog?
It was bananas. This book
Yeah.
was, again, comedically horny. I felt like this book was like Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise on steroids.
But the funny thing is that there's only one real sex scene in this book.
Yeah. But, well, I mean, you still get you get the prostitutes, like,
But I mean, like real,
yeah, I mean,
one of those prostitute snuff film scenes was written like in a
I don't think
kind of
it's
more
like
descriptive
fallacious.
way.
Like, she's talking about, like, sucking dick and stuff, and, like, but then she dies. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess, like, it doesn't count if you die at the end of sucking dick.
There was a
But-
little bit of there was a little bit of horniness in that. Like that was like the first one that
They
was
were
actually
like,
from
this dick
her.
is big, I love it. So,
Because the first one, like it was all like, I'm really a lesbian.
yeah, she's like, this dick is too big.
Uh,
It was like Goldilocks. Like, in the first one, it was like, this dick is too big. And the other one was like, better, this dick is just right. And then you die, so.
Yeah, it's if you're like, man, what the fuck? Yeah, that's what this book is like. This book is like that. What pairs nicely with a dumpster fire?
Oh my God.
It's gotta be like brandy, right?
yeah, some kind of, like.
Or like really expensive wine. No, rained out vineyard.
Rained out
it's
vineyard.
rotten vineyard.
Yeah, rotten vineyard is what goes with this. Rotten vineyard. So,
But I still read it in about 8 hours.
it was a super quick read. It reads like a movie. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Sarah is a fucking freak. Like, your 4 for 40s are wilding out. I love it.
I remember there being more hot sex like between
The main
Elizabeth and
characters,
Reese.
yeah.
And there's very little. It's
Well,
very
I mean, you have a lot of, like, the implication of him, like, going off with people. Like, maybe that was like, ooh, hey. But I enjoyed it. You know what? It was a fun book. I don't want to read a Sidney Sheldon book again.
Yeah, and I am really tempted to go and read that one with the nuns.
Nun Raven. So.
Yeah, it's The Sands of Time, and if any of y'all have read that, don't go and read it again
No,
for me, because I don't want to feel responsible for that. But you should totally tell me, is that I remember there being 2 of them, and one of them knows something, and like, the less worthy one dies of the gang rape, and the other one lives.
So it's like Captain Passions.
A little bit, yeah. Trying to think of it.
Yeah. Somebody gets raped to death, and like somebody else, the pluckier one gets to live. All right, so we are going to sign off, but again, remember our Patreon. It is at patreon.com/bodystipplers.
Or just Bodice Tipplers.
Bodice Tipplers, you can find the big thing.
And you'll see our show notes. We will have the cover art, the cool original cover art, as opposed to this boring ass shit that came out now.
And then maybe we'll find somebody to read with our oral sex. The crazy, insane, dirty shit in this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did dog-ear. Actually, specifically, I dog-eared the page when she and Reese get it on, just for your ease in
Thank you.
in sending that.
So
for oral
again,
sex.
if you join our Patreon, which we have multiple levels that we've changed,
it's cheaper now.
It's cheaper now to love us. You guys can get access to our oral sex series. You get access to us playing a speedy version of the Babysitter Club.
By the time this is out, I believe that will be live.
Polls and quizzes and all kinds of stuff. You can also find us at Twitter, B-Tipplers.
Yes, at Facebook, it's Facebook.com/Bodice Tipplers.
And then also Instagram, Bodice Tipplers. All right, we'll see you next time. Bodice Tipplers is part of the Frolic Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcast.